Hi there and welcome. Glad you could join me for how to make a mask tonight. I'm going to teach you how to make a mask using a disposable mask. These ones that we've all come to know and love over the last few months. I've made a lot of different kinds of masks, but I needed to make a lot for it kind of in a hurry, so I was trying to figure out how to do that, and I decided that I could maybe just cover these disposable masks. These masks are only about $1, if even that much. If you buy quantity, I think they're even less than $1, so not very expensive when you consider some of the masks you buy are a lot more than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this mask and we are going to cover it so that it will look like this when we're finished. It'll be expandable like the mask underneath. And this one I put Christmas fabric on, but you can use any kind of fabric that you have around or that you want to use. This is one that I made about 4 years ago when I was traveling to see my grandbabies on the plane, and I wanted a mask. Of course, I had this disposable mask, and I had a scrap of fabric, so I put it on there, and I used it, I don't know, 4 or 5 times over the years to go see grandbabies. I didn't want to catch anything on the plane, so I would wear my mask, and I never caught anything. So it worked for me, and you can wash these. I've washed it, I don't know how many times. I do not put it in the washing machine or the dryer. I just wash it by hand and hang it up, and that makes it very, last a long time. So depending on how long you want it to last, but this one, like I said, I've had for about 4 years and used it several times. So I'm going to show you how to make one of your own. This one will have folds in it, so it'll work a little bit better even than the one that I did. You're going to need a pattern, and I made a pattern, and I will share that with you in my directions. I'll also show it to you. It takes about 8 inches of fabric, 8.5 inches. So if you buy 9 inches of fabric, if you don't have any, you can of course use an old shirt or fabric scrap that you have. You need an 8 by 8.5. So if you buy a 9-inch piece of fabric, which is a third or fourth of a yard, fourth of a yard, then you will have enough for 5 masks because it only takes 8 inches of that. So get your fabric, decide what you want to use, and then make a pattern. I use brown paper. I've also used wrapping paper, anything that's a little heavier, especially if you're going to make more than one. That way it holds up nicely for you. Otherwise, you can just use a piece of paper, regular copy paper or whatever that you have around to use for that. So you're going to need to make your pattern, and this one, I'll put this in my directions. Okay, you measure down 2 inches, and then you measure down 5/8, 1/8, 1 inch, 5/8, 1 inch, 5 inches, and then 2.5 at the bottom. It's a little larger at the bottom. So 2 inches, 5/8, 1, 5/8, 1, 5/8, and 2.5. The 5/8 are the notches where we will be folding to make the folds in the mask. So that's the reason that you cut those out. Those are for the folds. I like to, when I cut my pattern, after I measure down and mark my 2 inches, my 5/8, my 1 inch, when I cut these notches out, I like to fold my pattern so that it is exactly the same on both sides. So when I open it up, I haven't moved it a little bit and my notches are different places. So if you fold it and cut it, then your notches are exactly in the same place on both sides, which makes it better and makes the folds fold very nicely. So get your fabric, decide what you want to use for your fabric, and you can either lay your fabric out flat like this one, okay, and cut all the way around, which is okay, or you can fold your fabric and fold your pattern and lay it on. One of the nice things about doing it this way is that if you have something you want to center, you can see that. Where if you lay it out flat, it's a little harder to see, you know, what's in the center of your mask. But this one, like I put a tree here right in the center, so I know exactly where it is, and I can, you know, position the pattern where I want it to cut out. So pin it down, get your pattern, get your fabric cut out. When you're done, you'll have something that looks like this. And there are 3 notches, 1, 2, 3, each of my 5/8 are there on both sides. And I actually cut one out of red because I thought you could maybe see it a little easier, the notches and everything a little easier. So this is it. All right, so you see I have 3 notches here. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this and you are going to make the folds in the fabric. So how you do that is you take, and I start with the bottom notch. So you're going to take this 1 inch and you're going to fold it down over the top, and you're going to actually just cover up that notch so that the fold is really at the top of that notch. It's where the fold will lie. And you're going to take that and you're going to pin that down. You're going to pin the folds one at a time. Fold them, pin them. Okay, so now I have my first notch, my first fold. And you can see, you cannot see that bottom notch. It's completely folded. And that's where you make your fold. Now I'm going to do my second one. And again, you're just folding it. It just kind of folds real nicely. You're going to pin those on each side. So that gives me 2 of my folds. All right. There you have 2 folds. Now I'm going to take and put the third one, the last one in. Okay. All right. And I'm going to pin that one down. When you get your folds pinned in, you're going to either take that to the machine or hand stitch those folds down, okay? About 1/4 of an inch on each of the 2 sides to really stitch those folds down so they're not going to come out when you are putting the fabric onto the disposable mask. So there you have your folds. I'm going to take it to my machine, stitch it or hand stitch it, one of the 2, stitch them down. When I'm finished stitching, then I'm going to go to the iron and I'm going to press that down again. Okay, I'm going to press it down. And that's just so that those folds are really set and they're not kind of bubbled up like this, because even after you sewed this down, these folds are not really flat. They're just kind of full there. So really pressing them down helps them stay and do a nice job when you try to put it on the mask. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the fabric and we're going to make it so that it fits the mask, okay, the disposable mask. Take my fabric, I'm going to turn down the top about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to press that down. Okay. All right. So now I have the top is folded down. Okay, next I'm going to lay this right underneath my disposable mask. And I'm going to match it up. So I've got my mask here. Okay. I'm going to fold in each side so that it lines up perfectly with the disposable mask. So I just take that and I'm going to do that with my iron. I'm going to iron that down. Press that down. Okay. Other side, press it down. Okay. Now I'm ready to put it onto the disposable mask. So I'm going to pick it up, and you can see, let me show you again. so my sides are folded evenly. It matches up perfectly. Okay, I can pick it up now, and I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put the wrong side down on top of the mask, and I'm going to pin that down. I usually put about 3 pins in the top, and maybe 1 on each side, just to hold it till you get ready to stitch it down. And then I put 1 on each side, just so it won't come loose or unfold. Your folds will be there when you're stitching them down. Okay. Okay, when you're done there, you have that, but the bottom's not folded yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay this down, and you're going to fold this bottom piece. This is still too wide, so you're going to fold it under and make it match the mask at the bottom, and then you're going to press that down so that it matches all the way around. You've done the top and the sides, and now you're doing the last is the bottom. Oops. I'm going to press that down. Oops. And try not to touch the mask, because it will melt that mask if you touch it. It won't hurt it if you touch it a little bit, but it might stick to your iron, so try not to touch that. And then I'm going to pin that mask at the bottom. Alright. Okay, so there you have it. It's all pinned, and you are ready to either go to your sewing machine and stitch all the way around the outside, or hand stitch it all the way around the outside. At the top, if you're using your machine, be very careful and stitch real close to the edge, because there is a nose piece there that these disposable masks, which are nice because it kind of fits to your nose that way, makes it a little more secure. But you can catch it in your needle if you get out. If you don't stitch just really close to the edge, you might catch that in your needle. Not that it would hurt it, but I don't know. I haven't done it, but I would just recommend stitching really close to that edge. Okay, so then you're all done. You stitch that, and here's what you'll have. You'll have a disposable nice mask that's covered, and you might have one like this, a red one I made, and then here's another one. So just whatever fabric you have, pull it out, make some mask for yourself or your family or your friends, and I just want you to have fun, and we can have a chance to wear something fun rather than just these disposable masks that we've had to deal with for the last few months. So good luck, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.